We finally got the direct from Bethesda on Starfield, and this is looking like one of the most impressive games that has ever been made, pending that Bethesda can pull it off, right? Because there is some concern that has risen in the past few days. So we're going to talk about how great the Starfield Direct look, and then talk about some of the stuff that's come out after that's kind of got people a little more up in the air now, right? Personally, I'm super excited, but I want to let you guys know all the information and see how you feel. Hey everybody, I'm Little Bobby here with 5 Gaming Direct, and today we're going to be talking about the Starfield Direct and the concerns that have arisen since then. Let's get right into it. So Starfield is looking like a massive monster of a game, a behemoth in the space. I don't think I've ever seen an RPG that promises so much, right? It is looking incredible. I'm almost speechless in watching this again for research for this video. I'm sitting here going, how are they going to do all this? It seems unreal. And I've seen a lot of people say that. It seems unreal that anything of this scope can exist, right? And a lot of people said that when Zelda came out earlier this year. Like, it seems unbelievable that Nintendo got that to run on the Switch. And I think that's true. And now we're seeing people saying the same thing, right? So what we know about Starfield so far, okay, they talked about the main quest, right? And to me it sounded like, hey, the main quest is you're going out exploring and trying to figure out the kind of the purpose of humans in the universe. I think that's what I think. It looked great, right? Going from planet to planet, system to system, exploring and finding what you want to do in the galaxy and how you can do it, right? We found out during the quest you're going to meet different factions, right? You get to find big settlements, big cities, right? They talked about New Atlantis, I think it was, or New Atlantis. The city that was like the old West city, which is a weird cliche that's come up in like space stuff, like since I don't know when, but like I know Borderlands had the Wild West expansion, right? They had that. They had the, you know, they talked about factions that are like cults and other like renegade factions, things like that. And that seems really, really cool. You're going to have so many different types of characters to interact with in this story. So many NPCs that are going to be able to help you or hurt you on your quest. And that just all seems really, really awesome, right? After that, they talked about the character creation. And this is like so cool looking, right? Customization is a big thing, especially in Western RPGs. You want to be able to make your character, and it can either look like you, or it can look how you want it to. It could, you know, if you want to be like an 8-foot tall female, like bodybuilder type character, you can do that. If you want to be like a 6-foot tall, just like regular dude, you can do that. And they've got like tattoos, and you can change all your facial features, and all this insane stuff, right? Letting you customize exactly how you want your character to be. They talk about not only like your face, you have a, you know, one of the frames has a walk style, your body type, assume you can do larger, smaller, you can change your skin tone, the specific details of your face, and then there's the background of your character, that sounded really cool to me, right? The background of your character determines like how you can interact with certain NPCs, and one of the examples they used was, hey, you never know, you might be walking into a restaurant and you might walk up to someone who needs like help from a beast hunter, and you chose the beast hunter background. That beast hunter background is then going to open up new options of dialogue and new quest opportunities from that specific character. That is very, very cool. And pending that that's actually a deep system and not just like a randomly generated thing, I think that could be really, really great, right? I guess it would all depend, right? Because that means every single character has the potential to open up something new. And if that is the case, and it's not just a few select characters here and there, this game is going to be infinitely replayable. There's no question. You're going to be playing this for 10 years, at least, just trying to figure out, right? Because people are doing that with Skyrim. You're going to be playing for 10 years, just trying to figure out, okay, what character is going to, you know, if I decide to be like a smuggler, right? Or I grew up as like a rogue type or whatever, and this character goes, oh, hey, you know, I really need someone who could like steal something for me, right? And you as like a rogue could go do that. That's awesome. That is very, very cool. And I would love to see that come to fruition. Time will tell whether or not it's that deep and it really is every single character can do that. I doubt it, because that seems pretty aspirational even for a studio like Bethesda, but we'll have to see. You never know. Maybe they can pull it off, right? After that, they talk about skills, and they're going to have 5 different skill trees, I think they said. It looks like each one has like between 15 and 20 different skills on it. And then after that, you have each skill having 4 ranks. So once you have a skill, you can level that skill up, and you do that simply by doing feats with that skill. Now, each feat, they said, gets progressively more difficult, which is great because it's like a long-term grind for you to do. I think one here says you can attempt to hack master level locks, and auto attempts can be banked, right? As a rank bonus, but a rank challenge simply on lock picking is just pick 5 locks. And if you do that, but then it might be, hey, you have to hack 5 turrets, or hack 10 turrets, or hack 15 security doors, right? It's going to get incrementally more difficult as they go along. And that seems really cool because that adds a lot of depth. There is one minor worry I have. One of the things that I really did like about Fallout 4 is that if you wanted to, you could do your character forever, because there was no limit to how high you could level any skills, if memory serves correct, right? You could unlock all of them and keep leveling them up. If my memory serves correct. Maybe, you know, you guys let me know in the comments if I'm wrong about that. But that let you do a lot, right? Because then you could just play the same character forever. You just keep going, and cool. I get it, a lot of people didn't like Fallout 4, but I thought that was one of the cooler systems in that game. Again, I'm pretty sure I'm remembering that right. Now, the next thing you talk about is ships. And ships was very cool as well. It's another big thing about customization, right? With the customization of ships, you end up seeing every part of your ship can be upgraded and put together however you like to create a ship that looks the way you want it and that does what you want it to do, right? Let's say you want to make a small kind of quick ship for getting in and out of places really fast. Cool. If you want to make a big cargo freighter to just haul cargo and you want that to be like your main priority, cool, you can do that. They even said like you can make secret cargo holds in it. You can upgrade your grav drive, right? Your ship's propulsion system to get you into further like areas of space. And all of that is awesome, right? And one of the things they commented on is they said, you know, they're going for the aesthetic of NASA punk, right? So they're basically making everything look almost grounded and realistic. And I'm going to talk about that later because everything in this game does seem pretty grounded, or at least like feasible, especially when they talk about weapons later. So I want to talk about one of the things that happens near the end. But yeah, seeing the ships doing that, and they say you can just add pieces that change the silhouette. So like if you just want to change how it looks, there are parts you can add that just change how it looks, which is very, very cool. Now they also say you can add companions. You can hire people to take care of your ship. The bigger your ship gets, the more people you might need on your crew to make sure your ship is in good shape as you fly through the galaxy. And that's pretty rad. You can also have them join you on different parts of your adventure, right? If you're going out to explore a planet, you can bring 2 people with you. You know, they could be like your red shirts. They die on the thing and you have to go hire new people. Who knows? If you want to treat it like that, by all means, it's up to you. And that's part of the freedom of Bethesda games, right? Very cool. The companion feature is looking all right. I think that's a pretty good feature personally, to have a space crew that you can really assemble, right? We're not playing Fallout anymore. It's not like the lone wanderer through the wasteland. This is like you're building your space crew, right? And then once you have your crew assembled, you can take part in the space flight sections where not only can you fly to different places, but you can engage in space combat. Now there's going to be they said small, intimate dogfighting style combat, and then larger, like I'm assaulting a big ship or something combat, which I think is cool. That gives it a very Star Wars vibe, right? At least in my opinion. That's one of the cool things about Star Wars, right? You'd have the little battles with the TIE fighters or the runs on the big Imperial, you know, the Imperial cruisers and stuff. And you can do that in Starfield. Or at least that's what they're saying. You earn XP when you kill other ships, and you can loot the ships as you fly through their debris, which is very, very awesome. It kind of gives you like a Assassin's Creed Black Flag vibe, right? They even say that if you don't want to just destroy the ship and you want to go in and board like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, you can do that. So they use the example of going in, roughing up the crew, or taking them out, whatever they want to do, and then grabbing the sandwiches and taking them back to your place, right? You can do that if you choose. Hey, I want to engage and I want to see what's on the ship. That is really cool because that makes each encounter almost like a small little dungeon, right? That you kind of set up if you choose. You're engaging in this dogfight and the other ship is very weak, and so you go, you know what? I'm going to dock the ship and I'm going to see who's on there, what they have, right? As opposed to just taking them out outright, right? Maybe you can capture those people and you can convert them to be your companions. That would be pretty rad. We don't know, but that would be pretty rad. After that, they talked about the Starfield Chrono Mark watch, which comes with the Constellation Edition, which is like their collector's edition. Has a really nice NASA-inspired case. They said it's inspired by the case that the astronauts used to bring back lunar samples, which I think is really nice little homage to obviously what inspired their kind of development of this game. And then they talk about the Xbox controller and headset. And if you could see my lights back there, I'm kind of repping the Starfield colors, the white, blue, orange, red, yellow, you know, that kind of whole scheme that they have on these controllers, right? They can then go on, they then go on to talk about exploration and how exploration is going to allow you to just go and check out parts of a planet if you want, right? We're going to talk about one of the things later that's a little concerning for me about exploration. But it looks nice. And if the exploration feels rewarding, right? Like, you know, it's one thing to go and maybe get resources, but if you really find something unique because you took the time to explore on a planet, I think that's going to be something really nice. And that's one of the big things, again, that we're going to talk about in a minute, but this exploration, if it feels rewarding more so than just, hey, I can get plant samples or animal samples or minerals, I think that's going to be fantastic. They then talk about outposts. Outposts are like, you know, Fallout 4 and the habitat building, right? Building your camp or whatever. Your outposts are going to be like that. And they said not only are you going to be able to do it in first person like Fallout 4, but they also have a top-down mode, kind of like a city builder, that you're going to be able to build much, much easier, I think. And if I'm building anything, I'm probably going to do it at top-down personally. They then went into the combat. There's tons of weapon mods and other things in this game that you should be able to utilize and have, you know, a bunch of different weapons that you have for different situations that is looking cool, and they should all fit different play styles, right? They said some of the cool things is there's going to be like low gravity or zero gravity fighting, right? And that's awesome because it's going to make you feel like you can do like a death from above, or like you're flying above your foes, right? Zero gravity combat is going to feature the ability for kinetic weapons to push you back. So you're going to have to kind of be mindful of your surroundings when you're dealing with kinetic weapons. They also said that energy weapons will not do that. And that makes sense, right? Because ballistics, right? Like having to actually have bullets come out, that requires firepower. It's a little explosion that forces the bullet out. That explosion is also pushing you back against it. That totally makes sense. And I'm down with that. If you can run that and have it be smooth, that's really rad, especially for a space exploration game. Then they also talk about the multi-shot weapons, where they all have different laser sight. I think they said multi-barrel weapons. They'll have a different like laser sight, and they all shoot like at the same time. So you basically like cover a person's entire body with like all the lasers coming out this gun, and you eat them alive. Just they get torn up because the shots are all independently causing their own damage. Those look extremely powerful. I can see those not causing, but costing a lot, right? Requiring a lot of investment. And I don't see those being something that you just get handed, because that seems really, really powerful. But who knows? They may just go wild with it and go, hey, just go nuts, have fun. After that, you know, they basically said a quick thanks, and they got to the very end, and it's going to bring up something that I guess I should talk about now. Near the very end, we saw this weird, like telekinetic power, like using the force, right? I'm hoping that there's some kind of explanation for that makes it justifiable, because everything in this game actually seems really grounded and based on, you know, theoretically feasible ideas, right? Even the multi-barrel weapons that we talked about, like you could theoretically build something like that. Is it practical? No, but you could build it, right? The grav drives, right, that follows like the laws of science fiction, bending space and things like that around your ship. I just personally did not care for like the use of the Force at the end. It seemed really, really weird to me. I guess we'll have to see what's going on there. Maybe that's like the very end of the game, and it's like 2001: A Space Odyssey. If you haven't seen that movie, go watch it. Right, where you become this like this more than human being. Who knows? But that was just something that I didn't care for too much. Now, one of the other things that I want to talk about is during the combat, it didn't seem like the enemy AI was super developed. At least not the human AI. The human AI really seemed like it was just taking cover a lot, and then it was like running from space to space, right? That's concerning for me. Okay. I think the combat looks much better than it did, but at the same time, I'm sitting here going like, I didn't see those human enemies fighting back all that much, which makes it feel like after a while, the combat's going to get boring. Now, combat obviously isn't like the front selling point of any Bethesda game, but at the same time, you want to make sure it's engaging, especially if you want people to spend like, you know, a year of their life in your game, right? I mean, Bethesda games are played for years and years, and Skyrim has good combat. I mean, it's mostly melee combat, right? And there's magic and stuff, but yeah, overall, the combat here for gunfighting with human enemies is not looking great. It looks much better than it did. There's also a couple scenes where they show you fighting animals, and the animals just have like clunky movement. And I think this goes back to the creation engine still being used, right? They keep saying, oh, we've made tons of improvements. And this is something else we're going to talk about in just a second. Tons of improvements, but the animals like just look kind of like the big like wasteland enemies in Fallout. They kind of move the same. They kind of have the same attack, you know, like tendencies, right? Like, no, I don't want to say same attack animations or anything like that, but they look like they think the same way. Like the AI hasn't really been improved that much, which, you know, I guess if you're okay with that, then you're okay with it. Now, speaking of the engine, characters don't look great. And that's something that's concerning. I like, you know, a game that does really look great, like all the landscapes and stuff like this look great. The characters don't look great. The facial animations especially are really weird. They're they're outdated. There's no other way to say it. You see characters and they're just like, their mouth is not synced properly and their eyes are completely dead, you know? And I know it's like, it's a game, right? But every game, you know, now is striving to make that better. And we're not seeing that here with Bethesda, where they're just okay. Now, a lot of people are going to say, hey, the engine looks so much better, the gameplay looks so much better, right? And that's true, but I want to tell you guys what I'm thinking they did is they did a lot of improvements to the lighting in this game, right? Lighting, if you didn't know, lighting just does a number on any scene, right? If I don't light myself for these videos, it looks terrible. You can barely see my face. You know, there's not a lot of color anywhere, right? That's even why I have this light in the back, because that's lighting behind me, right? To make me pop out of the background. Lighting is very important. Any person who works in film or even, you know, making games will tell you that. The models look like they have not been updated, but the lighting has absolutely been updated, and the lighting is phenomenal in this game. And so I think that's what happened, is that Todd and Bethesda were like, hey, let's just make sure the lighting's great. Like, and it'll wash over everything else. And it kind of does. But it's not washing out the fact that the character animations look kind of bad, right? And the facial features look really just like hollow and dead, right? So it's just something to consider. The 30 FPS debate, okay? This is another part that like we really have to make sure we talk about, because this is a big debate. 30 FPS, it's 2023. The creation engine is outdated. That's why like the combat kind of looks a little weird. The faces look a little weird. All the lighting in the world is not going to fix the fact the engine is outdated. 30 FPS on Xbox Series X is concerning. I'm going to be playing this on PC. That's where I play my Xbox games. I'm not buying an Xbox because I don't need to, because I have a PC. So I'll be able to play 60 FPS probably, pending they optimize the game well. But I do feel bad because a lot of people bought into the Xbox Series X under the pretense, hey, I'm going to have next-gen performance. To me, 30 FPS is not next-gen performance, right? I've tried to play games at 30 FPS, and like, if it's a really good game, I'll power through it, right? I talked about Zelda. Zelda's my game of the year personally so far. That's 30 FPS. I'm playing it on the Switch, and the Switch is 7 years old based on hardware that was 2 or 3 years old at the time it came out. It's like a decade old. They made that game on decade-old hardware. So, you know, like, it's kind of okay to let it slide. Not on the first new gen system from Xbox that's supposed to be the world's most powerful console, right? I don't mean the first, but like the primo, the top tier, right? The first in slot, right? That's one thing that I have to give PlayStation over Xbox in this regard, right? PlayStation doesn't have anything like Starfield. I'm going to say that up front. Horizon Zero Dawn, I spent about 120 hours in that game with the DLC and stuff. I really loved it, but man, Starfield, I feel like I could get lost in that forever. And I would never play it on an Xbox, right? I would never play it on my TV because I can't play a game that big, that good looking at 30 FPS. That's just not what I want to do anymore. I'd rather pay for computer parts every few years and make sure I can enjoy stuff. Really big, awesome, games like Starfield at 60 FPS. So 30 FPS on Xbox Series X, I've seen a lot of people say, oh, well, it's fine. But obviously those are some people who are like Xbox fans. And I know Xbox fans, you're looking for a win, and you have a win. Like, Starfield is absolutely looking like a win. But that's not a W, right? For the console itself and for Bethesda making the game. I would love to see if there's a way they could, like, lower the textures or like super like FSR 2 or something. Make it happen, right? I don't know. Personally, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes in the game, right? There's a lot of stuff. They said you could steal sandwiches, So who's to say that, it's even feasible? But if a computer can do it with, a drive, or excuse me, a graphics card that's about as powerful as the one as the Series X on the recommended spec, it seems weird to me that they can't make the Series X go to 1080p and do it, because PC, I'm pretty sure the recommended spec, let me double check here. Yeah, the PC recommended specs are a NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2080 or Radeon 6800 XT. So that with an SSD, which an Xbox has, a Ryzen 3600X, which is about what the Xbox Series X has. I don't see why playing at 1080p you couldn't do that on the Series X. I know it's a creative choice, and on PC you're probably gonna get a lot more pop-in with that, which would happen. I mean, that happens at Horizon Forbidden West. Running at 4K, the 120 frames mode, you get some pop-in. It's just what happens, right? It doesn't take me out of the game, right? Because I'm not looking way out in the distance all the time. Personally, for me, it doesn't bother me. A little bit of pop-in. If it was like egregious, yeah. But here, that seems like an issue. My last real issue is that recently I've heard that not only are loading screens going from, the planet to space, right? Which No Man's Sky doesn't do, right? There's been a whole thing, right? I've seen people go, Starfield is like No Man's Sky, right? I saw some people call it No VAT Sky, which I thought was pretty good. Obviously, No Man's Sky does not have like the RPG systems. However, in terms of their physical galaxy that they make, they have way more in it. You can do way more with the planet. You cannot terraform a planet. Yeah, you can steal sandwiches in Starfield, but you can't terraform an entire planet and break the entire planet apart. But a No Man's Sky game that's run by 50 people? It's made by 50 people. You can go from your ship to space and then go wherever you want. That's an open galaxy. Hearing that and then finding out recently, apparently This is what I've heard, is that there's going to be loading screens when you go in and out of like buildings and stuff. That's immersion breaking to me. And I get it. The game is big. It's got a lot of systems in it, but if that's true, that's going to feel really, really bad. So, you know, I guess you got to kind of just take it for what it is. Overall, the game does look great, and I haven't confirmed that there's loading screens going in and out of buildings. That's just something that I've heard. That I think someone mentioned that in one of the interviews. They said, "Oh yeah, there's going to be some loading screens going in and out of big buildings and stuff." That feels, like I said, really weird, but overall, I'm still really excited for Starfield. This looks like such an amazing game, and playing on PC, I'm gonna have it on Steam because everything I have is on Steam, and because like if somehow by some miracle they make it work on the lowest possible settings on Steam Deck, I want it. But what do you think? Are you excited for Starfield, even knowing some of that negative stuff that we talked about? I don't know. I am. Like, really, I am. I'm gonna play. I'm still like debating because every time, like, I like collector's editions, and I'm going, this is looking really good. I'm debating, like, just going, you know, screw it. I'm gonna pick up the collector's edition. I don't need the watch, but I think it'd just be cool to have, right? Cool to have like a special edition of a big Bethesda game. So yeah, let us know down in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys still want Starfield coming out? Are you still hyped about it? We're absolutely going to be playing and streaming this here, by the way, when it comes out. You know, we play all kinds of games. You know, I think we're probably going to play Final Fantasy 16. I know Talon's super all about that, and so is Lethal. I'm playing through the demo right now. I got like an hour into it, and I'm digging it so far, so I really like it. But are you going to be playing Starfield? Are you playing it day one? Are you paying for the early access? Oh, that's one of the things I like. Early access. Give me just another second here, editor. Early access is really weird to me because it kind of breaks the Game Pass promise of, hey, you're playing everything day one guaranteed. I don't like that. And I don't know if that's like Bethesda was like, no, we need to do that because we need to make money on this. And I'm thinking that's what it is, right? If Bethesda knows like, hey, people are just going to wait and play it on Game Pass, they're not going to buy it, or significantly less people will buy it. I think Bethesda pushed for this. And I think if it works, which it probably will, Microsoft is going to do this with a lot more games. So look for a video because we'll probably talk about this. If this is successful, we're going to talk about this and how Microsoft was probably going to use this for everything big that's coming to Game Pass to get actual sales. Anyway, let us know what you think down in the comments below. I'm Little Bobby here with 5-9 Gaming Direct. Thank you again so much for watching. Subscribe if you made it this far, and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Ring the notification bell to stay up to date. All the news, reviews, and other stuff we talk about on this channel. And leave a dislike and let us know why in the comments of what we can do to make the next video even better for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon.